All right, thanks, Kent. Got everybody a 2025 LSU Mardi Gras jersey. We'll be giving those out to the first 1,000 students tomorrow night. Really appreciate our student support this year. They've been getting there early, lining up out front. I think Kelsey and the marketing team have done a great job with some of those giveaways. And these Mardi Gras jerseys are big time, so look forward to seeing those in the stands tomorrow night. Another opportunity against a top 5 team in the country with Tennessee coming to town. The number 1 defense in the country, obviously playing at a really high level. Chaz Lanier leads them in scoring. He's made 94 threes on the season, shooting the ball exceptionally well. I think they have 2 of the best defenders in the country, and Ziegler and Meshack, and then Agpara's rim protection has just been phenomenal. So a really physical and tough team on both ends of the floor, and a great opportunity for us tomorrow night here in the PMAC.
Just how have you seen, I guess, throughout SEC play, Cam kind of handle, being the number 1 guy on every team's scouting report? It looks like he's, doing a lot of this, while being double teamed and being pressured a lot. Just what have you seen, I guess, in terms of his mental side that allows him to be successful while still being the focal point of every scouting report so far?
Glenn, I think the biggest area of growth for him has been his movement without the basketball. He's been a guy who's been denied a lot, face guarded at times, trapped in ball screens and dribble handoffs. And I think as his movement without the basketball has continued to improve, he's still been able to get pretty high quality looks. Didn't shoot it as well as he has been on Saturday, but when you look at the 2 previous games, averaged 23 a game in those 2 wins, was really efficient, came off stagger screens and made threes. I thought he had a couple back cuts and got to the rim and finished plays. So I think it's a combination of multiple things, but the movement without the basketball on Cam's behalf, improved screening from his teammates, and then better job in that stretch over the last probably 5 to 6 games of taking care of the basketball and getting higher quality shots on goal.
Just a couple. I saw you got Corey some minutes this past game. How's he and Derek doing? Any chance you can get them back? And then maybe just the growth in Robert's game over the last month or so.
Yeah, Derek's back now. He missed the Oklahoma game with the illness and missed a couple days there, but he's back full go. Corey missed that game with the back injury. He's back full go. So both will be available tomorrow. Rob Miller, I think is just a credit, to the old term that everyone throws around, the process. Just coming in every day and working to get better. I think you see his confidence really growing. He's been a really good defensive player for us all season long. Ability to protect the rim. He fixes a lot of problems, very smart on that end of the floor. But here in the last couple weeks, you've seen the offensive side really emerge. Very skilled. He's good in ball screen offense because he can roll all the way to the rim and finish. He's also really good in that mid-range on what we would call the short roll. And then even Saturday, you saw him pick and pop and knock down a couple threes, which I think will be the next step in his game. And then even that South Carolina game, I thought on the rolls, when they did come over to guard him and rotate to him, really good passer. So I think it's just a credit to the hard work that he's putting in. He's also gained 22 pounds since he got here, so the strength has really helped him as well.
Coach, we've seen the team grow more and more throughout last week and heading into today. And for the rest of the season moving forward, how do you continue to find that spark?
Well, I think it's challenging when you're not necessarily getting the results or the outcomes that you would like. So it really tests your character, it tests your resilience and your mindset to come in every day and stay focused on getting better, continuing to work to create value for yourself and your team. I think since we went to that 4-guard lineup, you've seen our offense be a lot more efficient, both from behind the three-point line and then also assist-to-turnover ratio. That's one of the reasons I think Tennessee's really good. They lead our league in assisted baskets. About 62% of their baskets are assisted on, so that means they're getting high-quality looks. and we've gotten better shots over the last 3 games. Unfortunately, on Saturday, we weren't able to shoot it at the same level from behind the three-point line as we had been, but I thought we were able to create better looks. So, it's overall, it's just you got to keep coming in and putting in the work. You have to invest the time in your individual game in the early mornings and late at night, so you can keep getting better as we go down the home stretch here.
You obviously have a lot to coach for and play for this year, but when you look at a guy like Robert Miller, you look a piece of the future. Hey, as we're building this program moving forward, those are the kind of guys. Sometimes you get a guy for a year and he's gone, but maybe in this case, those are the kind of guys that can lead you into the future.
Well, I think when you look across the league has been very successful in the transfer portal. The league has been very successful in recruiting the best high school players in the country. But when you look at the top of the league, there's a level of continuity within those rosters. Starting with Tennessee tomorrow night, Ziegler and Meshack, been there forever. Have won a lot of games, get better every year when they come back. Provide leadership, help instill the culture to the next group that comes in. So I think it's critical. I thought Rob and Curtis Givens played really well on Saturday. I think both continue to get better and better. And that's what, again, hindsight, always 20/20, but that's what you miss when Jalen Reed goes out with the injury. A guy had been in the program 3 years, had gotten better every year, and is able to help in the locker room in addition to what he does on the court. And so we expect Rob, to continue in that development. Been really proud of the hard work he's put in and how he's gotten better every week as SEC plays gone along.
Another freshman, Victorious Miller, I asked him about sort of just him adapting to his freshman year. And he talked about how he had to adjust to not playing, not knowing too much about when he would come in, having the struggles of SEC play early on, and now being trusted in the starting lineup. I guess, how do you think he was able to get through these little roadblocks and get the trust of you?
Well, I think for the majority of freshmen in this league, the physicality is a shock from day one. And it takes some time to get adjusted to, especially in this era where you have 23-year-olds out here still playing here in the final year of the COVID bonus year. So I think that physicality and it's not just on the offense or defense, both ends of the floor. And the screening, the rebounding, the rim protection at the rim, the shot blocking at the rim in this league is obviously the best in the country. So it takes some time. I think he's shown that he's a threat to score. We got to be a lot more efficient from the floor, but he's a guy who's shown he can score it at all 3 levels, from behind the three-point line, also in the mid-range, has a really high percentage from 2 on the season.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned Lanier, obviously a volume scorer, just had 30. Just how do they generate looks for him, and what are the challenges with guarding him?
Well, I think they're one of the best screening teams in the country. Akbar does a great job. He changes the angles on the screen, and he hits you. And constant movement by Lanier without the basketball. The one thing when you watch his film, he doesn't need much time or space to get a shot off. So he really quick release. He's made 94 on the year now, at a really high clip. Occasionally off ball screens, occasionally off the dribble. We'll raise up and shoot it. But I think a lot of it's his movement without the basketball and the great job they do of screening. And then you have a guy like Ziegler who leads the country or is near the top in assists, really has great understanding of the offense and where to get him the ball on time and on target. Well, I grew up about 20 minutes from Knoxville. So I grew up there. I always like to tell the story. I was 11 years old. My dad took me to watch LSU play Tennessee in Knoxville. Chris Jackson scored 49 points in the game. Coach Brown led the Tigers to victory, really became an LSU fan at that moment. And Chris Jackson, now Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, was my favorite player growing up as a kid. So always have very fond memories of those shootouts watching LSU back in the late 80s, early 90s.
You guys had 12 points in the second half, or 12 bench points in the second half of Saturday's game. What kind of support are you guys looking for from your bench players, especially tomorrow against Tennessee?
Yeah, I thought in the first half Saturday we were only 38% from the floor, but we really guarded on the defensive end, and then we hit 6 threes. So it was able to make up for, the 38% number. In the second half, we only go 3 of 15 from 3 in a game where we were going to need to make 12 or 14 to win. And, but I thought Mike Williams off the bench goes 3 of 6 from 3. He gave us a huge lift there. Rob Miller, 19 points, 10 rebounds. So we're counting on those guys to continue to give us that production. But in that second half, we just weren't able to score the ball effectively enough. We missed a layup that would have made it 63 to 61 late, and then they hit us with a 16 to 6 run to finish the game.
Any press conference that mentions Chris Jackson's a good one. So Mahmoud.
Oh, unbelievable. 30 points a game for 2 years here. I always tell people, my kids, he was Steph Curry before Steph Curry. The way he shot the ball off the dribble, and I just loved watching him play growing up.
I remember the game you were talking about. You met him, didn't you, when he came here?
Yes, we did a clinic
Yeah.
down at the Sports Academy in August when I first got here, and that was really special for me. I've always admired him as a player, and to get to do a clinic with him was really a great experience. There was Ronnie Henderson, some other former LSU greats were there, the Temple family. Just such great tradition and history here.
You kind of mentioned it, the dual nature of that 4-guard lineup that you have. As a coach, how much do you talk to the guys about that? Like, we're going to have to make these shots. They're going to have to take it out of the basket, like, in order for this thing to work. And everybody wants to win the game, but I also understand you need to figure out, like, what this team's capable of, too.
Yeah, it's challenging. You're looking at going into that Florida game and what gives you the best opportunity to find a way to win. We're not going to out-rebound Florida. They're number 1 in the country there. So we knew we had to execute on the offensive end, rebound by committee, and try and keep that close. We go 15 assists, 7 turnovers, but at one point in the game we were 12 assists, only 1 turnover when we were leading the game there with 10 minutes to play. We knew we'd have to make a high percentage from 3. The 2 games coming into Florida, we had made 12 a game at 41%. So you're kind of just trying to figure it out. Obviously, we got annihilated in the paint. They were plus 20 in the paint, and some of that was offensive rebounding. Some of that was us not guarding the bounce very well in the second half, after I thought really guarding it well in the first. But overall, there's some give and take there. You're just trying to find the best way to win. We played our big lineup some in that game, and we were minus 15 when we did it. We were plus 1 with the 4-guard lineup. So just trying to find the best way to give ourselves a chance to win against these top 5 teams.
We've talked a lot about the turnovers and how that has gone down substantially over the last 4 or 5 games, and you've mentioned the 4-guard lineup as a reason why. I'm wondering if there's any additional byproduct to why the turnovers have been a little bit down over the last couple weeks, and what you've seen maybe from your guards in terms of ball protection.
Well, I'd have to look at the numbers, but I believe Curtis Givens is maybe 13 to 2 assists to turnover in that run there of improvement. I think the spacing on the floor has been much better for us with that combination of lineups. And then we've shot the ball better from 3, whether that's because it's 4 guards, because the floor is spaced, because we're getting higher quality shots. It's opened up and given us a chance on the offensive end of the floor. So I think we're right around 9 turnovers a game after the last 5 to 6, after being around 13.5. So just trying to eliminate those empty possessions where not only do you turn it over, but now you're at a huge disadvantage in transition against these elite open floor teams.
Do you wish you had gone to the 4-guard lineup earlier in SEC play?
It's a good question. Hard to say. We played it some in the non-conference. The size and physicality of the league, you think you got to be big enough to match up on the glass. Hindsight's always 20/20. You can go back and look at it, but at Alabama, number 2 in the country on the road, we played the big lineup. At times we played 3 bigs in that lineup, and it's a tie game with 5 minutes to go. Corey Chess had 18 rebounds in the game, and you had a chance. So I think just trying to mix and match it some is probably the best way for us, and it's matchup dependent on which game you have a better chance to win with 4 guards, which game it's got to be the big lineup.
What did your year as a GA at Tennessee? What did that mean to you as a coach and to be at Tennessee at that point?
Well, it was a great experience for me because I got to work under my college coach, Buzz Peterson, who I played for at Appalachian State. After my senior year, he took the Tulsa job. I stayed at Appalachian State as an assistant coach. And then he won the NIT that year at Tulsa and took the Tennessee job. And I got to go spend a year with him there as a GA. It was a great experience, for a lot of reasons. One, working for my college coach and continuing to learn under him on the coaching side of things. 2, being right there close to my family and get to spend a year with them. And then 3, growing up in SEC country, really my first exposure to coaching in the SEC, and it was really a great learning experience for me early in my career.
You mentioned the job that marketing has done this year, and there have been a number of promotions, but there's also reportedly now from a couple of different sources a bigger financial commitment to your roster building. I guess, have you seen any kind of impact since that news has been out there that has let you gain a little bit even more traction? Are you feeling a little bit more comfortable, I guess, about the investment in the team itself and not just maybe the atmosphere?
Yeah, I really hadn't focused on that. Our whole attention right now is this team. How do we finish strong? How do we keep getting better? How do we keep developing our young players? I think when you get to the off season, certainly, I love the freshman class that we have coming in that we were able to sign in November. Really excited about the return of Jalen Reed from his injury. And then, as we all know, in this new era of college sports, you have to have great success in the transfer portal. So we'll be very locked in there after the season. But right now the focus has to be on getting our team better and continue to develop our players and try and find ways to win games here down the stretch.
I think I know a little bit of your answer here, but just for fans that may not want to get a check in, what's the goal for the rest of the season, and has there been any thought about NIT or anything like that?
Now we've really just approached this every game as a one-game season and just stay focused on getting our team better. I think you and I have talked about this. It's easy to be discouraged when you're not winning the number of games you would like. So putting a lot of time, investment into our players to keep them focused on getting better and improving and finding ways, to compete in these games. We continue to show great stretches. How do we make it more sustainable? We're 22-2 run against the number 2 team in the country on Saturday. That means there was good basketball being played on both ends of the floor. How do we sustain that level of play for longer periods of time? And so, really that's where the focus has to continue to be, not just for myself, but our coaching staff and our players, just preparing for Tennessee tomorrow.
Sorry, you said something pretty interesting at the end of Cobble's answer. Have you had conversations with Jalen about coming back next year? Is that kind of what he's leaning towards, or just what is the decision there, I guess?
We'll have those after the season. I was more talking to the recovery from his injury. I've just been really impressed with his approach from a rehab standpoint, starting with his mindset. I think he's really in a good place. He's working extremely hard. He's going above and beyond what it takes to get back and come back better than he was before. In addition to his rehab, and he's doing upper body boxing workouts. He's already shooting free throws. He's really determined to bounce back strong from this, and I fully expect that he will.
This is hypothetical, but if you hadn't lost. You couldn't hear me. If you hadn't lost Jalen, do you think you would have ever considered a four-guard offense?
Well, we played the four-guard lineup some with Jalen in the non-conference, in the win against Central Florida, in the Greenbrier. So, I think it was really effective with him because of his ability to score down on the block and also how effective he is as a slasher and also a playmaker at those elbow areas, whether it's him driving to the basket or him creating out of dribble handoff actions with his ability to pass. I thought it was really efficient for us there in the first 7-8 games of the year prior to his injury.
Thank you, folks.
All right, thanks so much. See y'all tomorrow night.